Welcome back to Famous People English Stories audiobook in minutes. All right, let's just dive right in. We're going to tackle a subject that so many people think about, but almost no one wants to talk about out loud. It's probably the biggest source of conflict in modern relationships, right after, you guessed it, money. When you first hear that, it kind of sounds like a punchline, right? If you never want to have sex again, get married. But here's the thing. For a shocking number of people, it's not a joke at all. It's their reality. This quote from Maureen McGrath, who's a nurse and a sex educator, it hits the nail on the head. It points to this huge, quiet crisis that's happening behind the closed doors of so many homes. So, just how common is this? Let's look at the actual numbers, because honestly, they're pretty shocking. The scale of this problem, it's just way bigger than most of us realize. Okay, get ready for this. A full 20%. That's 1 out of every 5 marriages in the US that technically qualifies as sexless. I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. Look around at your friends, your family. If you know 5 married couples, chances are one of them is living this reality. So, what does sexless actually mean? I mean, what's the cutoff? Well, according to the experts, the clinical definition is having sex less than 10 times a year. Yeah, less than 10. For a lot of people, that sounds incredibly low, but millions and millions of couples are actually falling below that number. And just to give you some perspective on that, let's look at the average. Most married couples, in their first 10 years or so, are having sex about 58 times a year. So a little more than once a week. When you compare that to less than 10, wow, that gap is massive. And that's where all the frustration, the resentment, the loneliness, that's where it all starts to build up. And really, this is the most important part of the definition. It's not just about the number. I mean, if both people are perfectly happy with little or no sex, then hey, it's not a problem, right? The real problem, the thing that causes all the pain, is when there's a mismatch. When one person desperately wants that connection and the other person doesn't. That's when you get those awful feelings of rejection, of being unwanted, and that's when things can get really dark. Okay, so the big question is, why? Why does the fire fade for so many couples? Well, it's not just one thing. It's more like a perfect storm of biology, societal pressures, and our smartphones. Believe it or not, a big part of it starts right inside our own brains. You know that incredible walking on air, can't eat, can't sleep feeling you get when you first fall in love? Well, that's largely thanks to a brain chemical called PEA. It's basically our body's own natural love drug. And man, is it a powerful high. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. That amazing PEA rush, it's not meant to last forever. Our bodies just can't sustain it. And what's really fascinating and maybe a little scary is the timing. After about 2 years, those levels start to drop off, which is often right around the time couples are getting married or facing their first real challenges. This is what you could call the danger zone. It's that point where the automatic chemical spark starts to fade, and if you don't replace it with real, intentional effort and communication, well, that's when the fire can really go out. And then there's the baggage we all carry from how we were taught about sex. It's usually a total mess, and it's completely different for boys and girls. For girls, it's all about fear, right? Don't get pregnant, don't get a disease. Sex is framed as this risky, dirty, dangerous thing. Nobody ever talks about pleasure or desire. And for boys, their education often comes from what Maureen McGrath calls a global program, internet porn. It teaches them all about the mechanics, but absolutely nothing about intimacy, emotion, or real connection. So you end up with 2 people in a bedroom who have been taught completely different and, frankly, completely incompatible things about what's supposed to happen. And as if all that wasn't enough, we then pile on all the stresses of modern life. You've got money worries, the absolute chaos of raising kids, maybe even caring for aging parents at the same time. You've got illness, and yeah, that even includes the man cold, which can shut things down. And let's be honest, exhaustion is a huge one, especially for working women who are often still doing the lion's share of the work at home. It's like a constant beat down on your energy and your libido. Every single one of these things is a total desire killer. Okay, but this one is just mind-blowing. 10%. 10% of people have actually admitted to checking their smartphone during sex. I mean, can you even believe that? It's the ultimate symbol of how disconnected we've become. We're in the same bed, but we're a million miles away scrolling through someone else's vacation photos. We're more connected to our devices than we are to the person right next to us. So, what's the big deal? It's just sex, right? Well, no. The cost of this disconnection is incredibly high. This isn't just about what happens or doesn't happen in the bedroom. It has huge damaging effects on our happiness, our health, and the very foundation of our relationships. Just listen to these words. People in these situations feel frustrated, unloved, undesirable, and unattractive. But the worst feeling of all, they feel lonely. It's this deep, aching loneliness that comes from being with someone, but not really being with them. It's feeling completely invisible to the one person who is supposed to see you more clearly than anyone else. And get this, that loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's literally a health risk. We're talking a serious, measurable risk. Studies have actually shown that being chronically lonely is a bigger risk factor for an early death than being obese or drinking too much. Let me say that again. It's more dangerous than obesity. That emotional pain has very real, very physical consequences for your body. Unsurprisingly, all of this pain and disconnection can lead to cheating. But what's really interesting is that the reasons why men and women cheat in this situation are often totally different. For a lot of men, they cheat as a way to stay in the marriage. It sounds crazy, but they're basically outsourcing their sexual needs so that they can tolerate the relationship at home. But for women, it's often the opposite. They cheat as a way to leave the marriage. The affair becomes the emotional lifeboat that gives them the strength to finally get out.
Okay, I know that was all pretty heavy, but please don't feel like it's a hopeless situation, because it's absolutely not. The good news is that there are very real, very practical things you can do to fix this. So let's shift gears and talk about how to actually rekindle that flame.
All right, here we go. 4 concrete steps to reconnect. First up, get moving. Seriously, daily exercise is a game changer. It gets the blood flowing, which is good for, well, everything. It boosts your stamina and can actually increase sexual sensation for both of you. Plus, it just makes you feel better and more confident in your own skin. Number 2, get help. Look, there is zero shame in this. If there's a physical issue like ED or vaginal dryness, go see a doctor. These are medical conditions. And if the problem is more about communication or past issues, a sex therapist can be an incredible resource. Taking your sexual health seriously is a sign of strength. Third, get present. This is a big one. You have to consciously choose to pay more attention to your spouse than you do to your smartphone. A simple but powerful trick. Go to bed at the same time, even if you just lie there and talk for 10 minutes. No screens. It creates a space just for the two of you. And finally, number 4, and this one's a little radical, get naked. The advice here is to handle all your big arguments in the bedroom without any clothes on. Why? Well, it is really, really hard to be self-righteous and angry when you are completely vulnerable. It kind of forces you to drop the act and connect like real human beings. So we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Your brain is your largest sex organ. Are you using it? So much of what we think of as physical attraction and desire, it doesn't start in the body. It starts in the mind. It's about feeling seen, feeling wanted, and yeah, it's about fantasy and imagination. It all begins long before you ever get to the bedroom. It's a powerful thing to remember.